Hello, everyone. How are you? We're here today talking about staying healthy this winter. What can we do? What top tips and tricks do we have to avoid those coughs and colds and stay healthy? Or if you get them, to minimize the impact that they have on your being. That is what we are going to be looking at. It's a subject that is really important at the moment. One of the things I've noticed is because we've had a lot of people have had this isolation away from others, the immune system is very low when it comes to coughs and colds and flus because there hasn't been the normal interaction that we should have had for 2 years. People have been living in smaller bubbles, smaller groups, so that kind of spread of germs has not been happening as it should. You may have thought, oh, brilliant, I didn't get sick for 2 years. I didn't have a cough or a cold. But actually, that means that your immune system is not going to be so robust this time round to fight those things off. So what we need to look at is what can we do to support our bodies to be the strongest they can be. Now, there is a level of coughs and colds and things like that, which is good because it's detoxifying the body. It's shedding old illnesses, old things in your system. It's clearing you. So, not ever getting sick is not a good thing because you're not then detoxifying going through this process. But what we don't want is these elongated episodes and severe episodes of being unwell. The sniffles for a couple of days is actually a healthy thing to have. So, what can we do to support our bodies at this time of year when it is cold out? There are lots of different things we can do, and we're going to be talking about that. The first one is really, really key in countries like the UK. So where we're in colder climates, where we don't get enough sunlight, the first thing to really look at supporting your health is vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is essential for 900 functions in your body. 900 things require vitamin D. And I've spoken about this many, many times, but I'm going to speak about it again because this is so important. And you may have heard me spoken about it and you may have forgotten about it. So this is a gentle reminder if you have heard me speaking. Make sure you are optimizing your vitamin D. For a man, that means 6,000 IUD a day approximately, and for a woman, 4,000 IUD a day. This will maintain the levels of where you're at. So we want good levels of vitamin D in our system because this will fight off the coughs and colds. This will support our immune system. There have been numerous studies done now to show that adequate levels of vitamin D in your system will boost your immune system. Adequate levels of vitamin D means that if you get the flu, it will minimize the amount of time you have that flu, that cough, that cold. So if you start to get unwell, the first thing I would do is go, vitamin D, maybe it's a bit low, and take some more. That's what I do. That's my first kind of port of call. Feeling a little bit unwell, get the vitamin D out. And quite often, a couple of days of boosted vitamin D and boom, that's it. That's all I need. So vitamin D, number one. The second thing is looking at your diet. You are what you eat. So if you're unwell, have you been eating enough fruit and vegetables? Have you been eating enough of a cross section of nutrients, getting all that goodness into your body? Have you been eating enough living food? Or have you been binging a little bit on the sugar and the chocolate and the crisps and the junk food? Heading towards Christmas when it's colder out, I find that I want more chocolate. I find that I want more of that kind of comfort food because it's cold out. So then it's looking at, well, can I make my own? I'm today going to be making a big chocolate order for an amazing CVD shop down in Felixstowe that are putting together beautiful hampers for an event on the 17th. So I am going to be getting my chocolate making hat on later today, which is going to be great. So we can make your own healthy treats. One of the reasons we crave more comforty food is the fat element. As it's colder outside, our bodies want more fat to keep us warm. So reaching for the nuts and the seeds, maybe making raw chocolate brownies, that's on my website on the blog post. It's a great thing to do because these are good fats that are going to satiate your body without you filling it with stuff, with refined sugars and processed fats that are not going to be so good for your body. The next thing when we're looking at our immune system is, so we've looked at vitamin D, we've looked at making sure you're eating good living food, because food is our medicine. So let's get that good stuff in. You know, great thing to do at this time of year is make lots of soups and stews, put lots of garlic in it. Garlic is a natural antibiotic, 39 different antibiotic strains in it. But unlike pharmaceutical antibiotics, it's not going to kill off the good guys. It's just going to kill off the bad guys. So this is a much better preventative than having to turn to antibiotics, which I know have their life-saving place. But for your coughs and colds and your things like that, we don't want to be taking antibiotics. We want to be having the natural form so that we don't get sick. You know, it's like grandmother's chicken soup had loads of goodness in it because it had the garlic, the onions, the sage, the basil, the bay leaves, all of these things which are naturally antibiotic. They're naturally medicinal. So you don't have to have the chicken soup. I like making my kind of bone broth vegan version, so no animals being hurt in the making of it. But it's about all the things you add to it, like the bay leaves. You know, incredible medicine bay leaves. You know, super protective. In a lot of traditions, they burn bay leaves around the house to ward off viruses and illnesses, because bay leaves have a very antibacterial property to them. They have a very antiviral, antibacterial quality. So let's get these things in our food that are tried and tested to keep illness away. Okay, so food is our medicine. We've got our food, we've got our soup and stew on the stove to support us so we can eat that through the day to really help keep us healthy. Then the throat. You come home, the throat is scratchy. We've all had that feeling, oh, I've got a scratchy throat. What am I going to do? Few things you can do to hit that straight away on the head. Sage tea. Sage kills bacteria in the throat. So have a sage bush around, you know, make sure you've got sage that you can put a few leaves of sage in a cup, drink that, and that's going to be very good for your throat. You can also make a mouthwash so you're gargling with that sage. So you're helping support your throat to kill that bacteria when it gets there. The other thing you can do is obviously use, I like to use On Guard, do a great mouthwash, which I like to gargle with cloves, cinnamon, frankincense. All of these things are very good for the throat area. You can make your own mouthwash with these things. Again, you can make a tea that you leave cool that you gargle with. Salt water gargling on the throat, amazing for killing off these bad bacteria and things like that. Again, if you've got a sinus problem, then using a neti pot with salt water, only a little bit of salt in the water, and you pour the neti pot round and you breathe out and it comes out the other side. The salt is killing the bacteria in the nasal cavity, and the same with the gargling, killing in the throat cavity. So you've done your gargling, you've got your sage tea out, your throat's still sore. I turn to aged garlic extract. It's a favourite of mine. 1,000 milligrams. I take 2 of those if I feel like I'm coming down with something. Really useful for that oomph if the food is not getting there quite enough, because it's so much more potent. The other thing that's very good is you can make a garlic honey. Only get raw local honey where you know they're looking after their bees. Do not use shop bought honey. It's toxic, not good. The amount of bees that are killed for it, don't do that. Find someone who, if you're going to get it, who loves their bees, who doesn't smoke them, who looks after them, and get their honey, because that's really highly antibacterial, antifungal, antimicrobial, antivirus, anti-everything honey. And use it as a medicine, not as a food. Have that in little bits. But if you chop up garlic and put it in there, the garlic will infuse. You leave the garlic in there. You can leave it in there for up to a year, more. And you eat that, and that is super potent, very good for children who may not like the taste of garlic. Medicinal mushrooms, incredible immune regulators, really, really supportive. I have just come out with a new product, my medicinal double strength medicinal mushroom tincture. So a few drops of that in your drink, in your tea, in your water, give it to your kids, they can't taste it. Very, very effective at supporting the immune system at this time. It's on my website now, so really excited about that new product. Vitamin C, key. Vitamin C is so important, and vitamin C is something we can't store in our body. So when the weather turns colder, when we're using up more vitamin C, also when we're stressed, we use up more vitamin C because it reduces cortisol levels in our body. So when we use this will help us to fight off coughs and colds. So upping your vitamin C at this time, really, really key. One of the things that is amazing is this All You Need superfoods and plant protein. It has medicinal mushrooms, it has 500 milligrams of vitamin C, it has 2000 IUD of vitamin D per serving, plus your super greens, plus your plant protein, plus your fat. So that has loads of goodness. Do that every day and you're going to be covering so many of those bases of the food as your medicine, getting those nutrients in, getting the mushrooms in to keep you boosted. Also, a lot of people have been using it if they are sick with something like the flu and they can't eat, they really just don't have an appetite. Putting that with some water, shaking it, and then drinking that, sipping it even slowly through the day, you're getting those, you're drip feeding those nutrients into your body to give you that energy to fight off whatever is going on without having the slowness of taking away the energy from your digestive system. From fighting off what's going on. So a good all-rounder on that level. Okay, so we've done the vitamin C, we've done the mushrooms, we've done the garlic. You got a cough. Maybe you didn't hit it soon enough. Getting outside, you know, getting fresh air is also really important. Airing out your house so that you don't have stagnant air in there. It's really good as well. Exercise moves the lymphatic system, which is part of our immune system. So when we exercise, we get that lymphatic system moving. Now, obviously, if you're not well, that exercise might be too much for your body. So before you get sick or when you're first coming down with something, get moving. Get to a steam room, sweat it out, you know. If you do have a cough, steaming water, towel over, be careful obviously you don't burn yourself. Essential oils, breathing up that eucalyptus or that thyme or basil, rosemary, all of these are very good to open up the airways. Really important if you've got a cough to have these things. One of my favorites, I make a tea with it. Is marshmallow root. Marshmallow root is an emulsive, so it coats and lines all of your mucous membranes, so your throat, your stomach. So marshmallow root's good for digestive issues, but it's also very good for coughs. So I make a tea which is marshmallow root, elderberries, rose hips, star anise, astragalus, all of these things incredible for supporting the body through a cough and a cold. So brewing up a big batch of that with your medicinal mushrooms in there as well, or just taking a mushroom tincture, boom, you know, it's really going to be supportive of your body recovering and getting over these things. So amazing. Okay, so let's think of what else we need to do to stay healthy, you know, to really fight off these things. One of the things that I'm noticing is that you know, there's a lot of people who are having vaccinations at the moment, and nothing against them having their vaccinations, but the flu mist, you know, the flu mist goes in the school, and this has happened every year for so long. Flu mist goes into the school, the week after, all of the kids get sick because of the shedding. I read a scientific study the other day, which I will post up on my Facebook. I believe it's already posted there and on my Telegram, that showed about the transmission, the shedding of the flu mist, and how it sheds. The first 48 hours are the worst, but it sheds for up to 7 days, which is why they say anyone who is immunocompromised should not be around anyone who has had a flu mist for 7 days. So you look at the schools have all been doing it and everyone gets sick. So to me, this is a really important thing. We need to be protecting ourselves if you haven't had it, or even if you have, against this shedding of this man-made substance being put into kids. So what do we do against that? Well, we boost ourselves. We try not to be around it for the first 48 hours. I keep the kids off school. Luckily, generally they do it on a Friday in the school. So then they're away for the weekend. So that's great. So they've missed a lot of that. But obviously, if everyone's then got sick, the kids go back into school and then they get sick as well. So getting that garlic in, as I said, in the garlic honey or in the food you're making. A little tip is if you're cooking with garlic, chop it up. I learnt this from the amazing Philip Day. Chop it up, leave it for 10 minutes, because what happens in those 10 minutes is the allicin, which is one of the active components, activates. And then when you cook it, you're not destroying that allicin. So that's a really good thing. So chop it up, leave it for 10 minutes, and then cook with it. So that's a really useful little tip. So get that garlic in however you can. Make a nice pesto for their pasta if you've got kids, with lots of raw garlic, so that they're getting it that way. Really, really handy thing to do. I made something called Protect, which is a tincture which is designed to repair the metabolic pathways that get damaged by viral shedding by this transmission. So it's got ginkgo biloba, it's got star anise, it's got fennel seeds, it's got schisandra berry. These are all really potent things to help this repair the pathways that get damaged by this transmission. So that's a really useful thing to have. In 2004, when bird flu hit, Tamiflu was created. Now, very interestingly, Tamiflu is still used today, and it is one of the top flu remedies that the doctors prescribe. It is based on star anise. So for me, I'd much rather use star anise on a regular basis as a preventative than have to take something to stop the flu when I get it or lessen it. So get your star anise, put it in your teas, and have that on a regular basis. It's very, very helpful to support our body. These are simple things that we can start to employ, that we can start to bring into our everyday to really help us through these things. If I feel like I'm coming down with something, another thing that I like to do is have a nice bath. Hot bath with Epsom salts, plenty of them. 3 to 4 cups of Epsom salts. This is high in magnesium, which again is very supportive of the immune system, and we absorb it through the skin. So the Epsom salts is amazing to help detoxify the body and support us. So 3 to 4 cups of Epsom salts in the bath. I put some essential oils in there, diluted. You can mix it with some oat milk and then put it into the bath so that they're diluted. Really good. If you don't have a bath, a foot bath is very, very effective. Another thing, if you do have a cough, an onion poultice, chop up some onion and make it very fine and squished up so you get the juice of the onion, and rub it into the chest, and then put something on top of it whilst you're laying down to hold it in place. And that onion juice is very, very beneficial. You can put onions on your feet. It's been shown that onions absorb bacteria and viruses. So there was a study done where a teacher chopped up an onion, put it on her desk, and they studied the onion beforehand and then after a day of snotty children coming in. And that onion was packed full of viruses and bacteria because it absorbs it. So you put half an onion in your fridge, chopped obviously, and it will clean your fridge out of bad bacteria. Great thing to do, but you then don't want to eat it. So if you've got a cough, having a chopped onion by the side of your bed, very, very good remedy. Ear infection, half an onion on the head, Princess layer it up with some earmuffs or something to hold it in place, and that's going to help pull out some of that bad stuff. So same with the chest, very, very effective onion poultices at freeing up the airways, opening that up, pulling out the gunk from that area through the skin. Let's think what else. This is like a rapid fire solutions for the winter. I think that's the kind of main gist of what we need to do. If you're obviously in pain, if you've got a bad headache from being unwell, something like a chamomile glycerin. Homeopathics are also very, very good. A dear friend of ours, Dietmar Kennard, is incredible when it comes to homeopathic consultations. He does donation only clinics, so do check out Dietmar Kennard, because homeopathy can work wonders as well. We've got our little first aid kit, homeopathic first aid kit, and that's a great thing to turn to. It's got a little booklet in, so for when you've got a cough, a cold, a fever, getting a homeopathic remedy is a really useful tool to have in your kit, and you can't go wrong with it. You can't give someone the wrong remedy; it just won't do anything. So you're not going to harm anyone in that process. So this is really useful steps that you can take. Okay, so homeopathy, as I said, really good. A great story I had with my oldest boy when he was 2. Generally hadn't ever been unwell. He was quite a robust child, and came down with a fever, and it was quite a high fever. I called my dad. What do I do? Take him to hospital. I really didn't feel that was the right thing. I didn't want to move him. It didn't feel right. And at that time, a friend called who I hadn't spoken to for a while, and he was a homeopath, and he said, "How are you?" I said, "Not good." And he said, "Why?" So I said, "My son's really ill, blah, blah, blah." He said, "Give him aconite, one every 15 minutes for an hour and a half, and the fever will be gone." Bearing in mind I'd done everything, cowpole, everything, nothing had touched it. It was like laying there limp almost. Didn't have aconite. I'd run out of it because it's the best one for colds. When the cold first comes on, that kind of giving an aconite, it can hit the cold really effectively. So I called up a friend. She had some aconite, so she ran it down the road to me. Gave him aconite. Within half an hour, he was sat up laughing and joking, and the fever was gone. It was incredible, the transformation. Absolutely amazing. So, when you get the right remedy, it can be so effective. I used to suffer from neuralgia a lot, and couldn't touch the side of my head. Had a consultation with Dietmar Kennard, and he gave me a remedy. It wasn't the one for neuralgia, but it was one that he felt would be the right one for my condition, how I described it. And knock on wood, it hits it straight away. If it comes on, I take that and it's gone. The good thing is I've hardly had it since having that. It seems to have reset it. I was having it every 3 months, and it would last 3 or 4 days. It was really horrible. And now maybe once every 6 months I'll get it, and I'll hit it with the homeopathics, and then it's an hour or two, and then that's it. So, these things can be really effective and helpful and supportive of us. So, as I said, essential oils can play their part. Having a diffuser is a really good thing to get the essential oils in the air. It cleans the air, and then also if you've got a diffuser on, it's going to help with your breathing. That vaporizing is a really good thing, where you put your head over and breathe it in, or get a nebulizer. Nebulizers work wonders. Put clean water in and some essential oil, and that's very, very effective. Another thing that works well is colloidal silver, giving that a little squirt in the mouth on a regular basis to kill off that bacterial viruses that are there. You can put colloidal silver in a nebulizer as well, and that's very effective. And the best essential oils really for breathing are eucalyptus, frankincense I love, thyme. Lavender is very good as well, and very soothing and calming. So those are a few top tips which I hope have been useful for you all. And if you want to know more about any of the products that I make, like my new mushroom thing or the All You Need, then do check out my website, juliettebryant.com. I hope you have enjoyed this and it's been informative and helpful, and I will do more on this topic as and when. Lots of love to you all. Take care.